Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from Street Scores, and it looks like the Washington football team name, branding, trademark, all of that, the patent has hit a huge roadblock. It's definitely looking like the Washington football team name will not last here long term. We're going to break down all of that. I'm going to give you all of the details behind it and everything and my opinions on it as well. But before we get to it, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification immediately. And every time I release informative videos just like this one, stay tuned for more content. Check out the rest of the channel too. All of my videos are organized in playlists. I even have a comedy playlist for all of my funny videos. So make sure you check out the entire channel. Stay tuned for all of the rookie film sessions I'm working on. Hopefully I can get all of them done before training camp. We'll see. And without further ado, man, let's get it. Alright, so breaking news broke out a couple of days ago. The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office has issued a refusal of the Washington Football Club's attempt to trademark the name for clothing. It got ugly on Friday for the Washington football team, man. If you remember, there's a guy out there named Philip McCauley who in 2014 filed to trademark every name imaginable that we may want to end up using after we got rid of the name Redskins. I mean, he literally went and thought of every name possible. Washington football team, Washington Warriors. Well, actually, he did Washington Football Club. So Washington football team is still too close to that. So that still counts. It's kind of crazy. That's just how legal stuff works sometimes. But Red Wolves, everything. I mean, he has all of like the major trademarks, and he even like made sure he made and sold clothing to satisfy its use in commerce provisions to make sure like the trademarks were official. He had to literally sell merchandise, sell clothing with those names, each one of them, to make sure that like it was official, that he owned those trademarks. And he was finally given the trademarks in May 2015, including the one for, most importantly for this video, Washington Football Club. And it's sad too, because again, with the Washington Football Club being so close to Washington football team, they're not going to let that slide. Because again, Mr. McCauley does not have a Washington football team trademark, but it's so close to Washington Football Club. Legally, Dan Snyder and company are still not allowed to benefit and make money off of the Washington football team. So, and you know, Dan Snyder's all about his money. He's a billionaire for a reason. If he can't make money off of the Washington football team name, if he can't sell merchandise, sell clothing, sell jerseys and things like that, then the name is done. Dan Snyder is about his money. He is not attached to the Washington football team name enough to sacrifice millions on millions of dollars just to keep it. So it sounds like this name is pretty much done. And then there was also another roadblock separately from McCauley owning the Washington Football Club. The government also felt like that the name alone is too geographically descriptive. And it's kind of crazy too, because like we're not allowed to use our old font from the Redskins name, but we can use this font that's extremely similar to the Falcons font. The whole thing is just so weird and messy. But a quote from McCauley's attorney, Darren Heitner of Heitner Legal, said, quote, "Mr. McCauley is aware that the Washington football team trademark applications receive non-final office actions with refusals for, amongst other things, a likelihood of confusion with Mr. McCauley's registered trademark for Washington Football Club that he previously renewed." And he had like a really nice long interview with JP Finlay. I think that's like the longest interview he's had, to where we could actually get an idea of where he's at mentally and like why he even did all of this. And he keeps trying to word it like he's genuinely not trying to make a profit. He said something about he offered the name for free. That was clearly a lie, because now every time he brings it up, he's talking about that he's willing to name a price and he's willing to discuss monetary benefits. It's definitely not just for the spirit of having the names and wanting to give it to him for free. He's definitely not offering it for free. I don't know why he's saying that in public, but you can even tell by all of his legal moves that he is hoping to get a bag off the Washington football team name, which again I can't be mad at. Just like JP Finlay said, he's not really mad at it. The problem is he keeps trying to paint this picture like he's some type of hero when he's obviously doing it for the bag. And so now the Washington football team is left with three real honest options. One option is to just, you know, change the whole name, change the entire brand. It's gonna be a little weird though, because some people have learned to like the name. I've never really had any problem with it. I've always felt like, just how I am, even as a trash talker, I'm always going to make the most out of nothing. So I've always seen it as we were the team. Like I emphasize the, like the Ohio State, the Bronx. So the name never bothered me, and I used it to my advantage. But I know some people have definitely gotten attached to the name. And most importantly, if we have another successful season under this name, we won the division last year, if we win the division again, and in every year that we've had the Washington football team name, we won the NFC East, whether it be superstition or whatever, it's going to be hard to get rid of the name that you're winning with, especially say we win the NFC East, maybe even win a playoff game this year, and then you change the name and then we don't even win the division next year. Oh, fans are gonna riot. Fans are gonna riot. There's gonna be thousands on thousands of fans that are gonna blame the name change. That's one critical part to this. I mean, do you want to ruin the flow? Your name doesn't determine how much you win, but man, you'll have a lot of angry fans if we win a lot this year, change the name, and then we don't win a lot the next year. I'm telling you, I'm warning you. But that's option one. Just completely do away with the whole Washington football team name, brand, and everything. Go to a new name. I prefer Red Wolves or Wolves or whatever. As long as it's something good, I'm happy. At the end of the day, I'm a fan of the team, the X's and O's, the players, the coaches, whatever the name is. That's not going to stop me from being a fan. I mean, be honest, we could be named the Washington Poo-Poo Heads. Is that really going to stop y'all from watching the burgundy and gold play? Like, are y'all really just going to be like, now I'm a Ravens fan or a something else fan, or just give up on something you love so much like football and how much history we have for this team just because of the name? I doubt it. I mean, of course there's going to be the select petty few, but I doubt it. At the end of the day, the name's not going to really matter too much as long as we're winning. Again, winning is what matters most. How much you're winning or losing determines how much people care about the name, honestly. And then the other two options involve dealing with McCauley himself. The cleanest way to do it, and maybe the first step you may want to try, is to try to negotiate with McCauley. See if you can get something worked out with him. Whatever he wants, some type of money, I don't know, percentages, some type of ownership. I wouldn't give him ownership. I don't think it's that serious. Just get a new name. Like, just get one of the names he doesn't have. It's not that serious. But if he's willing to take some low amount of compensation, then that's a second option. Then the third option is when you get ugly. You go to him with a whole bunch of legal battles. You can make an argument that McCauley obtained the trademark on fraudulent grounds, and you can encourage the USPTO to cancel his trademarks, because you could definitely find a way to claim that he filed the trademark in response to the tension surrounding the Redskins name, and solely because of that, just to come up on a bag real quick. If you can certainly prove that, like 100% definitively prove that he did all of these trademarks just for the purpose of trying to get a trademark real quick to sell it to the team that he knows would have to change their name, that could be grounds for terminating his trademarks, and they could get it that way. Also, they can dig into his history and his stats after he got these trademarks, and it's reported that he sold some clothing to make the trademarks official, but they can dig deep and see how much he's actually sold. Is this actually a substantive business? I mean, it doesn't have to be close to the burgundy and gold's merchandise sales, because I mean, that's just unfair, but it has to look like a certain amount. It has to be at a certain point to show that he's not just being petty and selling the bare minimum of merchandise to keep the trademark, that he's actually trying to like create a business off of it and make a living off of it. If they can prove any of those two things, they may be able to get that trademark off of them in an ugly way. Legal battles, that's the third option. And of course, like with the whole geographical descriptive issue, when it comes to that part of why they refused the trademark, they could easily just get over that. They could easily just prove that the Washington football team is very specific to this team and that the fan base loves it. They could just literally do some surveys and stuff like that to handle that one. So really, McCauley is just the biggest hurdle if you plan on keeping the Washington football team name. If you don't plan on keeping the name, then he's a non-factor, honestly. Now, as far as picking the new name, if they go to option one, which I don't know if that's their primary option or their last resort, but like that list of names they gave us that first time wasn't it, man. Like, it was not okay, bruh. They was over there talking about the Washington Aces, the Washington Ambassadors, the Anchors, the Archers, the Armada, the Aviators, the Beacons, the Belters, the Brigade, Commanders, Defenders, Demon Cats, Griffins, Guardians, the Icons, the Majors, the Monarchs, the Pilots, the Presidents, the Razorbacks, The Red Hogs is pretty straight. The Red Tails, the Red Wolves, my favorite, but I mean, McCauley's blocking that one as well. You have the Renegades, which sounds pretty cool. The Riders, the Rising, the Royals, the Rubies, the Swifts. I hate the Warriors. Please, anything but the Warriors. The Wayfarers, the Wild Hogs. They also asked people how they felt about the Washington football team as well. Also, the Washington 32 Football Club, then the Washington Capital City Football Club, then the First City Football Club. Man, they doing whatever they could to see if you felt any type of football club. They were like, bro, we gonna get somebody to like football club in some way. We gonna work around it. They even did the DC Football Club. And I do like the idea of doing the DC something instead of the Washington something. I'm not gonna lie. I'm personally a fan of changing it to the DC whatever we end up doing instead of it being the Washington. And then they also even did Washington DC football, like no team, no club, just Washington DC football. And that sounds more like a hashtag than a name. But yeah, man, I mean, this list of names, there were a lot of duds. There were some bangers in there, honestly, a couple of bangers, but for the most part, it's a lot of duds in there. I'm not gonna lie. The Demon Cats, I was so disappointed when I saw that. But I mean, there's even an argument as to, do these surveys even matter? Like when they ask fans what they want, does it even matter? Do they already have a name in mind and they're just doing all of the background legal work to get all of it trademarked and worked out and making sure they don't have any of these McCauley problems going forward or geographical problems going forward? Like, are they just asking us just out of curiosity, or are they genuinely asking us how we feel about the names and may actually pick a name that we pick? Because honestly, I don't feel like they will. I don't feel like we have much of a say, even as much as they do say we do. Or maybe we kind of do. And since so many people like Red Wolves, and McCauley does have Red Wolves along with a myriad of other names, maybe they're like, oh man, the fans really like Red Wolves, but we can't do that one. So we're going to keep trying to throw these other names out there and see if any of them bite. Seems like none of them are biting right now. So this is still an issue going forward. But again, at the end of the day, at least for me, I can speak for myself. I'm a fan of the team. I'm a fan of the players that get on that field and play their hearts out. I'm a fan of the coaches that do everything they do, the front office. I'm a fan of the culture. So, I mean, I prefer a good name, and I would easily prefer the Washington football team over some bad name like the Demon Cats or something completely unrelated like the Griffins or something like that. But at the end of the day, I'm a fan of the team, the history, the culture, and the guys going out there giving it their all every Sunday. I'm still going to be out here cheering as loud as I normally do, coming out with all of this content in these videos and everything, because again, I can flip a name. No matter what our name comes out to be, I can flip it in some way where I can still talk trash. So I'm not too worried about the name. Again, I really much more prefer if it has something to deal with wolves. I just love wolves. Like, that was the whole thing that sold me. Like, I'm not even like on the bandwagon of Red Wolf sounds nice or whatever. Like, I just love wolves. Like, I literally wanted it to be wolves before the Red Wolves thing even came out, and then people started talking about Red Wolves. I was like, yeah, I'm down for that too. The wolf is just my favorite animal, so I just would really like a wolf involved in some way. You could do so many things, like we've already talked about for years now, with how the stadium can be the den, the fans can be the wolf pack. It's just so many ways you can play on it. I've seen so many great wolf logos that look mean and aggressive. Thank goodness we're not the Pelicans type of thing. So whatever it is, I just hope it ends up being something good. But like I said, at the end of the day, I just want to go out there and win Super Bowls, man, for real. And this McCauley guy keeps saying through his lawyer and his attorneys that he's willing to negotiate and is willing to discuss a resolution, but I haven't seen any honest, genuine signs pointing that direction from him. I think he's just trying to come up on the biggest bag he can possibly get, holding the names for ransom, but we'll see. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please like it if you learn anything. Please subscribe if you haven't. Hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification immediately every time I release an informative video just like this one. Also, please get in the comment section and let me know how you feel about this entire situation. Which option do you prefer the burgundy and gold to take out of the three I gave you? How do you feel about this McCauley guy? Do you feel like he's genuine? And also, what team names would you want if we don't keep the Washington football team? And do you like the Washington football team name? Would you prefer to keep that rather than risk getting a terrible name on the back end? Or do you just genuinely like the Washington football team name? Like I said earlier in the video, I'm not necessarily in love with the name, but no matter what the name is, I can flip it. And like I've been emphasizing the in it. I'm making it sound like we're the team of the NFL, like we represent the NFL logo type of thing, just like the Ohio State, just like the Bronx. So no matter what they throw out there, I'ma flip it. But let me know in the comment section how y'all feel about this entire situation. And as always, man, I really appreciate all of the supporters, man. Big shouts out to everybody that supports the channel. Big shouts out to all of my sponsors. Shouts out to everybody that donates to the channel, and a special shouts out to all of my Pro Bowl sponsors whose name you see scrolling on the screen right now. And a special shouts out to my one All Pro sponsor, Jaden. Man, I really appreciate all y'all. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.